Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back to the eastern wing of the Stink Bug Works. Well, I've got a lot accomplished on this thing. So let's just delve into it and then we'll talk about what's next. So, first thing is, I've plugged these holes. And as we go around here, I've hooked up the rudder linkage. So the rudder's ready to rock and roll. I made the angled spacer and I cobbled up, and I do mean cobbled up. I cobbled up some, what would you call those? Beveled washers. You know, they're square because I can't make round ones on the mill. And, you know, you're making parts this tiny. There's one cut that you have to do by hand, and it never comes out right. But it did manage to drop the strut down to what I think is an appropriate depth. This water pickup is actually two pieces. The piece that goes through the hull is the next size larger than this. And I put this piece of shrink tube onto this piece of tubing and butted it up against the other tube, and then put a piece of shrink tube over both of them. So now it's held in there with shrink tube. All I got to do is cut the shrink tube, and this entire piece from here to here, actually it goes into about there, you know, but this whole piece comes out. I've dammed off this hole. I haven't got to the turn fin yet. I'm debating whether or not I should use the stock one, which might be good enough, or if I should put on one of those adjustable ones. We shall see. We shall see. Oh, the propeller. I started with an Octura X427. This is now a jetted 525. When you reduce the diameter, the pitch remains the same. You know, the pitch in inches. So by cutting down the diameter, you effectively increase the pitch a little bit. So this is like a 1.5 pitch. And it's stupid sharp. It's balanced. I'm trying something. I took off a little more blade area in this part of the blade, and I left more blade area back here. So, and I don't know if you guys know what a bar cut is, but they cut a notch in the back of the prop where the top strake here meets the hub. And so I just filed a little bit of an angle in just that last portion there. So I kind of cut it back just a bit. It's experimental. We'll see what happens. So that's this prop. The problem with modifying these little props is they're really hard to balance. You need a really precise balancer. And the only one I've found, I've got several magnetic balancers. I have one that works exceptionally well. And part of it's the shaft, you know, a lot of it. So it is what it is. Okay, let's take a look inside. I have batteries in here, and you can see how the leads kind of come up and form this 45 degree, or actually 90 degree between them, bend right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the ESC wires up between the motor wires. So I'm going to pull one up here and one up here. And I'm going to take two of these XT30 connectors and I'm going to put them in at 45, and I'm going to take this. This is a little bit of brass aircraft safety wire, and it's just the right size to fit in an XT30. So I'll solder these together like this, and I'm going to have the lead. What will I use for the lead? I'm going to have these leads soldered right here. And then I'll paint that whole blob there with liquid electrical tape. So I'll have leads coming up through here at a 90 degree that these can just plug right into. So it'll keep everything nice, neat, and tight. I have mounted the servo. It's simply glued in. I've mounted the cooling run up to the ESC. I still have to mount the receiver. I still have to finish the cooling. And I have to solder up all this stuff. Today I'm going to do some soldering, and instead of working on the cooling jacket yesterday, I worked on the prop. And so now I have a decent 25 millimeter prop for that thing. It should work just fine. There you go, boys and girls. Status on the upgrades. The upgrade. These aren't upgrades. This is a complete rebuild. Upgrades would have been just throw a new motor in it and a better propeller. But then you might want a metal strut, and you see where it goes. So I took it to the limit. One more time. Until next time, boys and girls, jet out.